Good day, ladies and gentlemen, my students, and thank you very much for paying attention to this. I'm going to be with you in a few minutes, and I'm going to present to you Teaching and Mentoring Assessment A. Teaching and Mentoring Assessment A. My name is Teddy Shikokoma, and I will take you through important slides that you should take into consideration. Not necessarily like I'm presenting to you what is in the exam, but what I'm going to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, is actually the content of this module, Teaching and Mentoring Assessment A. You should prepare quite well, and what I would like to urge you first before I go in the course of the presentation is to refer you to the verbs. There are action verbs in your module, at the very beginning of your module. Those action verbs are the ones that we utilize, or I utilize when I'm drafting up the questions. And you should understand each of these modules, not of the modules, but of course the verbs, because if you understand the verb, you'll be able to deal with the question quite effectively. Okay, to go on in the presentation, ladies and gentlemen, the content of this module, it's a little bit bigger, but you should know all the content in all the units. Okay, to start with, explain the purpose of assessment and evaluation. This is in your book. So if you are giving the explanation here, so you should deal with the two. Assessment. You should first understand what is assessment and what is evaluation. Once you understand what is assessment and what is evaluation, it will be easier for you to explain the purpose of the two. What is the purpose of the two? And as a teacher in school, this is what you do on a daily basis. You do the assessment and you evaluate your learners. And be able to explain mentorship in regard to intern teachers. What is mentorship? Because when a student teacher is studying to be a teacher, you need to be mentored. Or immediately when you have started teaching, you need to be mentored, because sometimes you don't have experience, and you find those teachers at school that are experienced and they know teaching inside out. So if you are mentored, if you are allocated with a mentor, somebody who's going to mentor you, then you will be able to get the picture of all the aspects that are involved in teaching. So, but this one, it says, explain mentorship in regard to intern teachers. If you're an intern, it's like you're a student teacher who is being taken through, who is being mentored, and you are there for teaching practice. So you need to be mentored and be directed the way that you can develop and grow professionally. Discuss what holistic school education should be about. If you're talking about holistic education, so holistic school education, what should that be about? Then look at the verb there, it's discuss. So you need to go into details of discussing what holistic school education is about. You should also be able to outline different mentoring roles. Very, very important. Different mentoring roles. But remember here, you are simply outlining. You are just giving. You are not discussing. You are not explaining. But what you are doing is basically just mentioning the different mentoring roles. They are listed in your module, so there's no need to sweat. Distinguish, that verb, that action verb is important. Distinguish between assessment and evaluation. I think we had a look at this already. Explain why it's important that teachers do effective lesson planning. I remember quite well when I was the head of department. to some teachers, they don't want to do the lesson planning. I know some would say, now I'm an experienced teacher, I've been teaching for so number of years. Yes, that's a fact. But it's obligatory for you to do the lesson planning. So therefore, as a student here of IOL, you must be able to explain why it is important that teachers do effective lesson planning. Effective, not just lesson planning merely, but is effective lesson planning. Be able to analyze the benefits of mentoring and coaching. Because mentoring will benefit somebody who's being mentored, and coaching as well. So you must be able to analyze the benefits. Because the key word here, of course, we have the word analyze, but the key word here is the benefits of mentoring and coaching. It should come out clearly. Outline the benefits of sandwich feedback technique. This is one of the feedback technique that is very important in teaching. So you must be able to outline the benefits of sandwich feedback technique, this type of technique. The next one is to list. This is just listing. You don't have to explain, you don't have to describe, you don't have to, but you just have to list characteristics of effective mentors. What are the characteristics of effective mentors? What is that they should possess as to be considered as effective mentors? It's visible in your book or your module. Yes, very important. As a teacher, define the term continuous assessment. We do continuous assessment. The continuous assessment is, as the term says itself, is continuously. From the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you are doing assessment. You are giving assessment work to the learners. You give them activities to do. You give them listening skills, for example, in English. You give them continuous writing to write. You give them directed writing, continuous writing. Understand this terminology inside out. Continuous assessment. You should also be able to differentiate between formal and informal continuous assessment, because continuous assessment can come in two different ways. Can be informal, can also be in an informal way. So you must be able to differentiate between the two, formal and informal, because those are the key components, formal and informal, but we are talking about continuous assessment. Of course, you are giving the difference. Okay, name integral part of critical thinking. If you are talking about critical thinking, what is the integral part of critical thinking? Okay. Based on contemporary society, you must be able to outline characteristics that shape the society. What are the characteristics that shape the society? We are all living in a society, so we are looking at the characteristics that can shape the society. So you should be able to outline those characteristics. Okay, but remember, we are living in a contemporary society. That's very important. You must also be able to list practical strategies that can help mentees or mentees build a relationship with their mentors. Because if you are being mentored by a mentor and you are a mentee, there must be mutual understanding. And that mutual understanding can only come if you have built up a relationship. Now, what you should do is just to list the practical strategies. Remember, I'm talking about practical strategies. So there should be Those are the ones that can help or make sure that there is a good relationship between a mentor and a mentee. And as a student, you should also be able to outline tips a mentor should take into consideration when visiting a mentee for the first time. Because, as I said, there should be a mutual understanding. There should be a good relationships. But now, there should be tips that a mentor should take before you visit the mentee for the first time. Explain how mentee can be criticized positively, because as a mentor you cannot just come to the mentee and then you go on, you bomb the person and you throw words and you are inexperienced, you are like this. But as much as a mentor can criticize a mentee, they should be in a positive manner that's not going to destroy the person or the mentee. Because excuse me, once that relationship is broken, so then mentoring will not materialize and it won't take place. The qualities, you must also be able to name the qualities of an effective teacher, because a teacher, to be effective, should have certain qualities. And what are they? You simply name them. You don't have to explain them. And you should also be able just to outline the qualities of a mentor. That there should be qualities of a mentor. What? Because not everybody can be a mentor, of course. A mentor should possess certain qualities. Must be patient, must be understanding, must be flexible, must, you name them. Discuss steps for improving the listening skills of a mentee. Yes, they should be, this one should be a discussion now. Should be able to discuss the steps for improving the listening skills of a mentee. The person that's being mentored must have certain listening skills that a person should possess. And then we move on to this one. It's also important. Name Knowles. Knowles is a person. It's a scholar. You should be able to mention or to name Knowles' key characteristics of adult learners. What are the characteristics of adult learners according to Knowles? Knowles, as I said, is a scholar. Ladies and gentlemen, we must be able to analyze the ways of achieving the best results when discussing feedback on observation techniques with a mentee. So remember here, mostly our focus is on the mentee and the mentor. So must be able now to analyze what are those ways, because the ways that are designed to achieve the best results when you are discussing the feedback. Because as a mentor, you must be able to provide the feedback to the mentee, so then you must utilize the best way. So analyze them. Outline facts to consider when addressing a person of another culture. As I said in the previous slides, we are from different cultural backgrounds. And as a teacher, you're also teaching in a multicultural society. And your culture is not my culture. Your culture as a teacher is not the culture of the principal or the culture of the head of department or the culture of a mentee and the culture of the learners for that matter. So you must know what are the facts that you should consider when you are addressing people from different cultural background, not to offend, because what is practical accepted in your culture might not be practically accepted in the other person's culture. The culture of your learners, as I said, the culture of your head of department, the culture of your teachers, if you are the head of department, for example, the culture of the school principal, the culture of the parents. And as I said, you might find learners from different types of cultural background in your class. Some are from Vambo culture, Herero culture, Damara culture, etc. State questions that you should ask yourself as a teacher before agreeing to be a mentor. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a mentor, to mentor someone, because not everybody possesses certain acceptable characteristics of being a mentor. So therefore, here, someone has to state, someone has to say the questions that you should utilize yourself as a teacher before agreeing to be a mentor. Because if you did not do the self-analysis, do I fit to be a mentor? Once you start, it might be a different story, and it might jeopardize the mentorship relationship between you and the mentee. You must be able to make the comparisons or compare the features of mentoring and coaching. Compare the features. What are the features that are involved? Features of mentoring and features of coaching. Because mentoring and coaching is not one and the same thing. These are two different entities and they have different features. So you must be able to make comparisons. But you must know, how do we do the comparisons? Of course. Explain how to maintain teaching as a passion. Nowadays, many people are taking teaching as an employment opportunity, but they don't have the passion that I love teaching. I have learners at heart. Because if you don't have learners at heart, then the whole thing, the end result, it's something else, because you were just looking for employment opportunity. I believe everybody here who is listening to this is a teacher because of the passion, but not because of job opportunity. But in any way, you must be able to explain how to maintain teaching as a passion according to your module. Explain the criteria for meeting the requirements of good assessment. Not all the assessment that we design, be it formal or informal assessment, are meeting the requirements. But one should have, before you design the assessment, you should have certain criteria. So therefore, if a question of this nature comes in the exam, it requires you to explain the criteria for meeting the requirements of good assessment. You must also be able to discuss the value of a mentor. What value should a mentor have? Explain the features of a supportive or democratic style. So we have different types of styles. So supportive or democratic style. Outline the points of long working hours by novice teachers. If you are talking about a novice teacher, we mean, new teachers without much experience and so forth. So now, long working hours by novice teacher. You should just outline the points. The next item, ladies and gentlemen, is for you to describe how mentors could use LEAP model. That's a certain model that is in your book when mentoring a group at school. A group, not mentoring individual, but a group. How do you use LEAP model? You should also be able to clarify the following concept in relation to supporting of a mentee: self-directed, positive feedback, stretch, solution, focus, structure, etc. So those are the concepts that I'm referring to that that you can use when supporting a mentee. And the next one is for you to define the term constructive criticism. We do criticize, but criticism can only be acceptable if it's constructive, especially in education fraternity. So you must be able to give the definition of the word constructive criticism. Discuss how to build a rapport with mentees, because you should, as a mentor, you should build up that relationship. You should build up that relationship with a mentee. How do you do it? And be able to explain the barriers to active listening. There are barriers there. Just give the explanation of the barriers to active listening. Analyze guidelines for creating mentee portfolios. What are the guidelines? You just need to analyze that. So you have to go much into detail to analyze the guidelines for creating mentee portfolios. You also be able to evaluate aims and benefits of mentoring and coaching. The aims. What are the aims of mentoring and coaching? What are the benefits of mentoring and coaching? Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the presentation of this module, assessment and mentoring. Please prepare thoroughly. That's what I can say. Prepare thoroughly for examination. You are also required to revise all the units. Don't say, no, this unit is less important and this one is more important. They are equally important. So you need to revise and go back to the action verbs. The action verbs will help you to know what is asked and what is required from you in a particular question. So therefore you should understand each and every action verb. They are available at the beginning of your module. You should also utilize the experience that you have as a teacher, or perhaps as a student teacher, aspiring teacher. And please, I beg you, do not leave any question unattended. Answer all the questions. There's no point of saying this question is difficult. There's nothing like that until when you have attempted it. Consult other sources when you are preparing for examination. Don't only focus on your module, but there are some points that you need to expand to get that more information. Explore the net, for example. Best of luck. I can be contacted at my mobiles 0811480977 or 0812531801. You can contact me from 8 o'clock in the morning to 18 hours in the evening. And you can contact me from Monday to Sunday. And I also prefer emails. Drop me an email, because I cannot miss an email, but I can miss a call, of course. My email address is t_shikukumwa@yahoo.co.uk. Thank you so much, and best of luck.